I've only seen one anime.
Okay.
Attack on Titan.
Let's
huge.
go. Attack on Titan tattoo right here.
There it is.
I loved it, man. It was like one of the best TV series I've ever seen, full stop. So,
It transcends, especially the fandom itself. It like transcends even just like what people typically think of as anime. And now people are going to be in the comments like, Leah's talking about Attack on Titan again, because I find any relevant moment to bring up Attack on Titan, I will talk about it and try to convert people. So very happy to see that.
Made it 2 minutes.
Coming to you from Crunchyroll HQ, this is The Anime Effect. Each week we bring you the latest news and views from the shows you love. It's pop culture with an anime lens. A few weeks ago, we shared our interview with Shing02 and Spin Master A1. But what we didn't tell you is that OMA also dropped by Crunchyroll HQ. So this week, we're going to share our conversation with both OMA and Shing02, because he also joined us for that chat as well. They all shared how they love going on tour together. The Lovesick Hexalogy Tour that's still going around. If you haven't seen it, please go find it. If not, listen to the live album, whatever. And they teased more collaborations in the future. Yeah. But before we get to that, we have news to discuss, like a much anticipated release date for Dragon Ball Daima, new Dragon Ball Sparking Zero characters, an anime film coming to theaters, and more. So much more. I'm your host, LeAlec Murray.
Hey, this is Alex Lebel.
And I'm Josellie Rios.
And we are all here to see just how powerful the effect of anime really is. Okay, so you guys might have noticed a little bit of a different lineup today. So both Leah and Nick came down with the sickness. So like the Power Rangers in 1993, 94, somewhere in there, where they got turned into little babies and they had to bring in the Ninja Rangers from Aquatar. Yeah, this is basically what this is. So, bam, Alex and Josellie showed up. They saw my bat signal and they were like, oh no.
We got this.
Well, I'm always usually tapped in to fill in for Nick just because, again, I have a beard and long hair. So it's easy enough, seamless.
He's still Nick coded. But also there is a note here that says the 30s hit Nick hard. So welcome to the 30 plus club, buddy. So we have to ask, I know Alex, we asked you, but Josellie, because we didn't really get to know you when we were doing the One Piece episode, what was your gateway anime?
My gateway anime has to be Sailor Moon.
Okay, yeah.
It was definitely the anime that, before I knew what anime was, I was running from school because, recording your shows or just hitting play on them wasn't a thing in the late 90s. Mm-hmm. So, you had to make it or you would miss one episode and then you would be kind of lost as to why things were happening. So Sailor Moon was definitely my gateway anime and it's still one that I find comfort in. Yeah. Like when I'm feeling down, I go back to watching Sailor Moon for the 300th time and remind myself that I can be powerful like Usagi.
That's me and Dragon Ball. Real quick for everybody at the table, what is something you're watching or reading that you guys think that you've just been enjoying? Not saying that this is our recommendation section, but just real quick, just something you guys have been that you've been spinning that you enjoying right now.
I have really been enjoying Alia. I don't remember the full title. Yeah. I know Alia she sometimes hides her feelings in Russian, something like that. It's so endearing. It's the right level of like heartfelt. And you know exactly what you're getting into, but it's so comforting to be able to watch something like that every season. And this show does it in such a cute, unique way that every time she says something in Russian, I'm just like slapping my leg. I'm like, she did it. She did the thing. And he knows what she said.
The title. He did the thing.
But it's been so much fun. And it's one that we all have a lot to do and always can't necessarily watch as episodes drop, but that one I try to make time to watch when it drops.
For sure.
Nice.
Josellie?
I'm just catching up to Bocce the Rock. I didn't watch it when it was first coming out.
Bocce is so good.
I'm just now, and it's so good. It's so funny. I just laugh my behind off.
It's so like it, and everybody knows. Like Nick and I absolutely love the show. So welcome to the Bocce Hive. There's a lot of room.
I'm ready. I'm thinking about dressing up as her for Halloween and everything.
Do it, please.
Tracksuit and all. not so much watching because I haven't had a lot of time to watch. Like I'm trying to like keep track of everything as best I can. I need to catch up on Wistoria. That's actually been like my favorite for the season. But I just started a new Shonen Jump title called Ichi the Witch, which is very interesting. TLDR, witches, of course, are the only ones that have magic. So it's only women that have magic in this universe, but they have to capture these living magics in order for them to get the magic. But there's one that cheats and says, you can't capture me. It has to be, somebody that's male that can beat me. It happens. And ta-da, you have your first male witch in the story. And it's it's only 2 chapters in. It's actually been pretty cool. So nice. If you guys need something new to read, there's that.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, noted to the list.
Next up is the news, where we're going to talk about the latest from Dragon Ball Daima and Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. Woo! As well as the upcoming season 2 of Solo Leveling. Let's go.
God. Let's go.
What to expect from the Bocchi the Rock recap films. Let's go again. We're going a lot this episode. And so much more. Stick around. Without any further delay, let's get into those Dragon Ball updates.
Oh, baby. I am so excited. I think these next 2 are specifically me coded, even though we all love Dragon Ball around here. So Dragon Ball Daima will be streaming on Crunchyroll starting October 11th.
It's coming.
Wow. Just when you think there won't be any more updates for Daima, you're wrong.
Yeah. Here they come.
Here they come. It's happening. So this is going to be, I think, an amazing series. I think we kind of talked about it before. It's that go between the Buu saga going into Super. So what are you guys excited to see from this series now that we kind of know where it's going to be chronologically?
I am just, first of all, I'm very impressed about everything that everyone was able to accomplish after the Buu saga and before the World Tournament. I mean, they were getting so to it. Happening. Like it motivates me each week to be like, think about it like the gap between those 2 events. Right. But I'm just so excited to see what it is.
Yeah.
I'm kind of intentionally keeping away from details, but also they haven't really revealed too many.
Right.
In a sense, like just enough to be mysterious and raise that curiosity for you. So I just can't wait to see what it's all about. I'm getting those like kind of more old school Dragon Ball vibes from it.
That's why I'm excited.
I am so ready for that. So I just can't wait to sit in front of the TV and watch it.
Right.
Yeah, me too. I just have so many questions as to the implications of this, this transformation into being like a smaller body. Like, what does it mean for your power? Or I don't know. I have a lot of questions that I can't wait to get answers for. And so I'm very excited about it all.
I'm very curious about child Mr. Roshi and child Piccolo. Yeah. Like okay.
Does he still get like the mustache or
or does his muscle form still exist?
Right.
Like, is
are we gonna get muscles?
Right. Is it a baby orange Piccolo? What's happening? Like I don't know. Like we'll wait and see. But like we said, it will be streaming on Crunchyroll this upcoming season, October 11th. Mark your calendars.
Set a reminder.
Yeah, put all of it. Just like block out your meetings, all of it. I'm watching Dragon Ball today. Continuing on the Dragon Ball news, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, new trailer just hit.
Boom.
Just yeeted all of the GT characters into the mix. 15 Dragon Ball GT characters will be joining Sparking Zero. And talk about brand synergy, shares a release date with Dragon Ball Daima. Yep. So on October 11th, you will be able to watch Daima and play Sparking Zero. And just so everybody knows, the game will be hitting on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. I might take off work this day.
Yeah, I was about to say.
That's just reasoning for really taking that day off.
Might just take off work this day.
I hope the boss is listening.
Right. No, I'm super excited for this. As somebody that grew up with the Budokai series, like a lot of us did, and it now coming back in full force. Nick and I actually got to play a little bit of it when we were at Evo this past summer.
Nice.
It feels exactly like a modern Budokai, so I think everybody's in for a treat, including the massive amount of characters that will be in this game. They're like kind of dancing around the final number. It's going to be 100 plus. So I think we could just go ahead and throw that out the window. But no, I'm super excited.
I'm just ready to be a kid again on October 11th.
Yeah.
On that day, I will be like 10 years old all over again, seeing new Dragon Ball, playing a video game. Man. Gonna, I don't know, cycle down the street to a friend's house and play on his system because I don't have one, and then we'll have to like leave it on because we don't have a memory card. Yeah, so like it's gonna be just one of those days.
Yeah, you'll turn small, just as the characters.
Yeah, you just rolling around in your PJs all day. Like, come on, man. Sticking with the video game news, Josellie, I know you're excited about this one.
I'm very excited about this one.
Start your Zelda Echoes of Wisdom journey in this new overview trailer.
Yes.
Next week, September 26th, Echoes of Wisdom will be hitting our Nintendo Switches. We got a super detailed trailer. You play as Zelda.
Yeah.
For the first time. Which seems to be so weird.
Yeah.
But
so right.
It's so right. But the game is flipped. You're playing as Zelda. You're saving Link. It's going to be fun. I'm ready to just build weird chairs to get to things.
Yeah. I'm ready to see all her like little outfits, the little desert outfit, her cape.
Yeah. So which power of Zeldas are you guys excited to use?
In real life or in the game?
Hey, give me both. I'll take both.
In real life, I'll say like she's using like beds to build stairs, like just pulling up a bed whenever I need a nappy. That'd be amazing.
I'm gonna go sleepy now.
Yeah, exactly. Just give me 10 minutes, guys.
Right.
In the game, I saw that you can sort of echo enemies to help you fight. Yeah. So I'm very excited to have some enemies fighting for me.
Yeah. It very much reminds me, I think it was Spirit Tracks, or the one after that was on DS, where she actually had like the little like Phantom Knight that followed her around. So that's kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah, real world, I'm looking forward to making more time off to play Sparking Zero. Want to be able to generate
time.
Yep.
Yeah, and also in the game, I'm kind of curious, like how high can you climb? Can you play only up? But in this game, and just I don't know how far have they built up where you can jump around. Yeah. So I'm just curious about that.
I mean, because we learned in the last like Legend of Zelda game, like in Tears of the Kingdom, they were just like, hey, go build stuff. Yeah. And people were like building mechs. I'm like, how are you building full Gundams?
Yes.
In Hyrule? I'm not gonna question it because it's cool. I can't do it. So what else is left? So I'm really excited to see where the creativity goes for this game.
For sure.
Yeah.
But also give us a Zelda maker, because if we're this close, then just go ahead and do it. Next, Solo Leveling Season 2 premieres January 2025. During Aniplex Online Fest, a brand new key visual was released announcing the January premiere for the upcoming season, and Season 1 recap film, which will include the first 2 episodes of Season 2, titled Solo Leveling Reawakening, will have a theatrical release in Korea and Japan in November. I don't know about you guys. Give me more Solo Leveling.
Yes.
Please. All of it.
Just all of it.
Just all of it.
All of it, please. And I'm excited because that means I'll be able to re-engage with the dub. Shout out to Caitlin Glass and Alex Lee, who did phenomenal working on Season 1.
Oh my God, yes.
So I am super excited to get back into this world. It's probably been one of my favorite, of the few that we have, it's been, one of my favorite webtoon adaptations for sure.
Yes, I'm very excited for watching the movie and sort of reminding myself of how it all ended and get, a sneak peek into what's coming.
Yeah, it feels like it's been so long, but it really hasn't been.
It hasn't.
And I think that's a testament to the quality of the adaptation. That you feel like you want more and you're ready to jump back into it. And having read ahead, because in the other world that we work in outside of this room, I get to work on this title in a fun capacity, and it's just like there's so much in store in the story that I can't wait to see what all is brought to this season. It's just the show is so good.
So is there anything you guys are excited to see, barring spoilers?
More
Ginu's
action.
Abs.
Yes,
His abs.
both of those things. Yes, thank you, Alex. It's like you read my mind.
Sticking with our release news and tying back to your comment earlier, Bocchi the Rock recap Part 1 and Part 2 anime movies are coming to theaters next month. The film was previously released in 2 parts in Japan, but it looks like here for the US it will be just one. And we're going to get some brand new animation out of it. How about that? The movie will be available in Japanese with English subtitles. Stay tuned for ticket info.
I'm ready.
I'm interested to see, like, I'm always interested to see how they cut recap movies. But this one in particular, I think I might just go see just because I just love the series, bar none. But I'm going to be super interested to see how this turns out. And then they said we're getting new animation. As somebody that has just started watching it, is there something you want to see them explore more? Or
I'm not sure. I'm just very excited to see how they animate the singing parts. Like, how different does it look in theaters? Because those are my favorite parts.
Same. Can they push it to almost a music video style
Yeah,
when they're performing?
exactly.
I would love to see that.
Yes.
I'm curious if they'll have like pit tickets and seated tickets for this showing. Yeah.
Can we get a Bochi mosh pit, please?
Yes.
Just clear out the front. Nobody sits in the front of the theater anyway.
And then we can bring our lights.
Yeah, just clear it out. We'll bring glow sticks. We have supplies of glow sticks. We'll just bring our own.
We can bring for the others.
Yeah, we have enough we can share. Just make sure you put them in the bin out front so we get them back. I'm excited.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, I honestly, like when Nick was like, "Oh, you have to watch this," I didn't think I would like it as much as I did.
Me
and
too.
I did. Then we did the panel. Bochi Hive is real, y'all.
Join it. Join the
it.
hive.
Please join it. We're taking new members always. All right, coming up, Leah and I talked with OMA and Shingo. We talk about their current and possible future collaborations. That's next. Guys, we are so excited to be here with Shing02 and OMA.
Woo!
They're here in Dallas during their Lovesick Hexalogy Tour. Thank you guys for coming to the Anime Effect. This was actually a personal ask from me. I was like, we gotta get the guys on the show. But since we have a rather large group, would you guys please introduce yourselves?
We're OMA. I'm Chris. I play guitar.
Hey, I'm James. I play the bass guitar.
I'm Corbin. I play the keyboard.
I'm Sam. I play the drums.
And I'm Shing02. I'm the vocalist for this tour. Shout out Crunchyroll, UC Berkeley. What's up?
Let's go.
It was started by UC Berkeley graduates back in the day.
That's sick.
Fun little fact.
So I want to do a quick shout out, actually. Corbin,
Yeah,
your brother runs the merch booth.
he does.
Shout out to your brother. Like, I was like right at the merch booth, like
Oscar,
watching the
come
show.
Say hi, come on. On camera.
Yeah, let's get a little camera.
camera.
Just real quick.
I've just eaten a granola bar.
But this is the man you guys will see selling merch. And he does a good job. It's a hard job, but we wanted to give you a little shout out. So thank you, sir.
Shout out, Oscar. If you see him on the street, buy a t-shirt off him.
Right. He just carries a satchel.
Yeah.
full
He
of
opens up his jacket, like.
Even if it's the one off his own back.
Right. What you buying, stranger? Okay. So, like we do with all of our guests,
Yes.
gotta ask you guys.
Required question.
Required.
Yeah.
Okay. You can walk out after this if you choose. But what was your gateway anime?
Ooh. I'll be honest, I've only seen one anime,
Okay.
Attack on Titan.
That's
Let's
huge.
go.
say you're about to
Attack on Titan tattoo right here.
There it is.
I loved it, man. It was like one of the best TV series I've ever seen, full stop. So, I'm gonna watch more.
It transcends, especially the fandom itself. It like transcends even just like what people typically think of as anime. And now people are going to be in the comments like, Leah's talking about Attack on Titan again, because I find any relevant moment to bring up Attack on Titan, I will talk about it and try to convert people. So very happy to see that.
Made it 2 minutes.
Yeah.
For me, I mean, I've seen quite a few now, but I'm pretty sure I started with Bleach, I want to say.
Oh, Bleach is a good
Yeah, I really enjoyed Bleach. It was either Bleach or Full Metal Alchemist.
That's
and
also
Both
a very
very
good one.
big up the
respectable.
statue
Yeah.
through that
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So see that.
I myself, I'm a complete novice, so I'm here for the recommendations, guys.
Okay.
You know, if you guys have any
Attack on
idea-
Titan.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Maybe
Sorry, one more time?
Right.
Attack on
What was
Titan.
it? Looks like we might have to do a little mini rec section.
Yeah.
I'm the same as Chris.
Oh.
Unfortunately, yeah. So
Got some
I will
anime baby
take
birds in
whatever recommendations he gets.
Yes,
I
sir.
will also take.
We're open to ideas.
Yeah, so for me, I grew up with a lot of manga, but, you know, besides all the big, you know, names like Tezuka and Miyazaki and Otomo, like, I actually like a lot of Lupin, the third one.
Oh, I love
There we
Lupin.
go.
Yeah.
But of course, the soundtrack and of course Miyazaki had a lot to do with it. So, I mean, yeah, I was just a TV kid, just like anyone else in Japan.
Yeah. That's another good rec Lupin because the soundtrack, like you mentioned, it's very jazzy, very like, it's easy listening for sure. It's one of those you can just sort of put on. So we have to talk about Battle Cry, which was, you know, your encore number last night. And of course is from Samurai Champloo. And you performed that actually together at the Anime Awards earlier this year. One of my, I'm just gonna say it, my favorite performance of the night.
It was the best one.
Yes, loved it. What was that experience like, you know, going to Japan and performing at the Anime Awards?
Yeah, I mean, it was the craziest thing. Obviously, like, Japan was such a crazy trip. It was so different from anywhere we've ever been. The Anime Awards themselves were an amazing experience. Like, everyone was so welcoming. The organization involved for a show like that was so wild to see, and obviously play a very small part of. And yeah, it was just a super positive experience for us, and obviously dope to just rock out with Shingo again, you know?
Yeah. Japan's our favorite country now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Have you guys gone since?
Yeah, we're frothing at the mouth to get back.
Here's to hoping.
I went one time and I'm like, nah, I gotta go back. Like every year I gotta go back.
For real.
And I also, you know, I was talking to Shingo about this when we were chatting earlier, but you know, you could tell from Anime Awards and also just your performance last night that you guys have like just extraordinary onstage chemistry together. Where does that chemistry come from, and sort of, you know, how did this partnership come to be, and how do you draw from that chemistry when you're performing on stage?
Well, I can start. Well, I mean, definitely start from just me cold texting them because I was a fan. Like, seriously. But the thing was, I happened to be in London those 2 weeks, just promoting some clothing, and I had no idea they were actually in Manchester. Like, I really did not have. I didn't put two and two together. So they were nice enough to combine with other plans to actually set up a session in London where they had done before previously. So it was kind of a, you know, cute little jam, but it wasn't really up until Crunchyroll that helped propel this chemistry because, you know, shout out Satoshi, you know, Crunchyroll.
Satoshi's the man.
Shout out Satoshi.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they put us together to, of course, if no one sponsors that, you know, that combo, it's not going to happen. And just on the on-stage opportunity we got, and then we rallied around to do more club gigs. And now that led to this whole tour idea. So yeah, it was a lot of work, but if it weren't for like pure luck, it wouldn't have happened.
Wow. I love that, like, the story is just like, you just basically just called them. It was like, hey, so you guys got anything going on later?
I'm sure a lot of people do, but it kind of helped with the anime and Oscar and Corbin, you know, they identified quickly what I was doing already. So, and then another shout out to OMA, like, I didn't really have to push to, hey, can you learn the Love 6? Like, it was already done. So yeah, shout out to them. Yeah,
OMA, we'd love to hear about, you know, sort of putting together those compositions and, you know, working together in that way.
Yeah, I mean, we've been playing with each other for a long time. We've known each other 6 years. We met at uni, and we've lived together for a long time now. So, you know, just spending that amount of time together and, like, playing. Basically, like, I haven't really played with anybody else in a long time either. So
in a hot minute.
You just kind of subconsciously learn, you know, how each other plays and kind of form that synergy over time. But in terms of, like, the arrangements and stuff, like, we're always trying to kind of downsize to the 4-piece thing that we've got going on. And just through, like, hundreds of songs, basically, we've just kind of figured out each our own way to do it, you know, and adapt whatever song we want to learn into that 4-piece situation. And it's really good fun. It's challenging at times. Obviously, like, with some of the Newbies stuff, like, the beats are amazing. And, like, there's a lot of different soundscapes in there that are, you know, we can't get exactly right, but that's why it's fun, you know, to try and bring it to just our situation, you know, and find our sound within it.
I mean, big up Manchester for being so rainy that it keeps us indoors playing in practice. I guess, but yeah, I mean, it's really nice to, you know, like, specifically with, like, the Hexalogy, you know, there's, like, so much meaning in the songs and, like, obviously great beats, and it's kind of like, it's not a step away from what we do in a sense, but it's, you know, it's a slightly different energy. So it's really nice to kind of, like, invest ourselves in that feeling and that moment and get our version of it together and feel it out. it's just been a super fulfilling experience for us, I'd say.
Yeah, totally.
You can definitely see that experience come through. You guys are just so in sync on stage. Like I was just watching all of you individually and like the little like looks and motions that you guys have that just keep you right in tune with each other.
So many
really
games.
awesome to watch.
Well, I mean, chemistry aside, you know, what made you guys want to collaborate and go on a bigger tour together? Like, did it just, hey, we perform together, let's just do it again? Was it that simple, or was there something else behind it?
Yeah, like a thing where it just works, you know?
It was just chilling.
It was
just chilling.
I mean,
from the beginning.
in all honesty, it was quite last minute that this whole schedule got put together. So it was really gauging interest, just the idea of it. And even this tour, we're taking like one show at a time. We can't really think that far ahead. Our brain is not capable of doing that. So our mission is to rock each show to the fullest extent, no matter how big or small the crowd is. But once again, you know, like I enjoy very much because it's condensed to 4 pieces, but I get to listen to each instrument like it's a parallel track, you know?
Yeah.
So of course you have the melodies going, you have the rhythms going, and everything is so in sync. So yeah, just even listening to the Nujabes medley backstage, like it's just incredible, you know, how the little drum fills come in and then the beat comes in and, you know, it's on point, it's in pocket.
Yeah.
I'm sure you feel the same way in the audience too.
Oh yeah, I mean, just for me personally, like when you guys are doing Battle Cry and everybody gets their solo, I was like, oh man, like it's and just celebrating something like Battle Cry, which is in its 20th anniversary, like it feels so special. Even though the original song is fantastic, but when you guys talk about breaking it into 4 pieces, it's really it turns into something different altogether. So what is it like for you guys performing that, especially like because I know a lot of you guys are new to anime. Like, what's it like taking a piece like that comes from a great anime and then breaking it down to celebrate it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really enjoyable experience. I mean, it's been fun to hear like the history of a lot of the tracks we're playing from Shingo directly, you know, and like doing some investigative work into the samples and stuff. It's a really dope experience, and obviously when the crowd are just going crazy, you see how much it means to people.
Yeah.
So
Battle Cry always gets the craziest reaction when A1 like flips the sample.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's so
just
dope.
mental every time, without fail.
And do you guys see people's faces like when the sample spins up and they start flipping out?
Yeah. You can audibly hear it. Like there's like a hum in the audience. Because that song really is sort of like a love letter to OG anime fans and the demographic in the crowd too. You see like old fans, young fans all coming out to support. So that was something really cool about being in the audience.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's really dope to see. There's so many like kids out there are so hip to the game, you know. Like we're onto some of these tunes kind of late, you know, or like we still feel like we are, but you know, there's like kids in their teens out here like already popping to Nujabes and you know like already listening to bangers, you know, kind of jealous.
And also shout out to Shingo for their arrangement of Battle Cry in particular, because I feel like that's obviously such an amazing song to wield in the set, and I feel like Shingo, you do such a good job of like squeezing all the juice out of it that can be got, you know, and like really giving people that experience.
Bring it up.
No, but it evolves over time, you know, and a lot of times we have like special guests, and last time we had IQ, who's like a complete OG of the anime game. Shout out to him. You know, first night in Arizona, we had some First Nation, Native American dancers. That was so special.
That's so cool.
And that's all organic too, you know what I mean? Like a friends, like, yo, you know, it's on some another level.
Yeah, you could kind of feel sort of that like organic energy, like just while you guys are performing. I can, you know, pick up on some of that like scrappy, like we're doing this for passion type energy. I think it really comes out.
Which is a great segue to the next question. I'm a huge hip hop nerd. What is it about the art form of hip hop that drew you guys to do what you do, right? Like, I can only say for me personally, like if I'm working at my desk, like I don't think I have any other playlists on but you guys' playlist. And it's funny because I just ran into it randomly and it was like, oh, these guys are great. And then now I just can't listen to anything else when I'm working. So thank you for that.
Big up. Thank you. Big up.
But I mean, for you guys, like collectively, what is it about hip hop that like puts you guys in the space that you're in now?
I think we all have different answers.
I mean, I think what got us into hip hop was MF Doom and hearing MF Doom's beats, his instrumentals first, because he puts those instrumental tapes out like Special Herbs and stuff.
Yeah.
And like, we all went to music school, and like there was a period of time where we were into like jazz and everything, you know. And a lot of that was carried over in Doom's beats. So that's kind of how we got into it. And there's such like interesting parts, and it's simple, but like it keeps your interest, it keeps you going, and like that's what we like, you know, because we're not crazy players. We just like to lock into a pocket.
I disagree. What I saw last night was crazy. Like you guys were absolutely killing it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think it is the pocket for us, isn't it? Just like we like to just sit in the same thing and just chill in it, you know. So
yeah.
And yeah, I mean, as like instrumentalists, you know, like we went to music college, so we were always, you know, being put onto some musical, learning some cool new things for our instrument specifically. And I guess like the beauty of hip hop is like, you know, the nature of sampling, and then, you know, like it's all about like the ear of someone to go crate digging, you know, like find that like couple of seconds that just makes a hit record. And like, you know, like the fact that someone who doesn't necessarily play an instrument can like access that and then be like, yo, this bass line is dope, let's make a song around that, you know, like it's crazy. And then like it's, you know, it opens it up so much for like the perspectives too, you know, like they interpret that way different than, you know, say we would, and then we go cover it and reinterpret it. It's just, you know, like a limitless thing really, hip hop with the sampling and everything.
Yeah, it's funny, like, because we get some comments on our videos of people always trying to like, you know, and it's nice. I appreciate people commenting, trying to like correct us on like what we're playing, and like, oh no, this is this, and it always kind of intrigues me, because to me there's like, as James is saying, there's almost like an unending creativity involved in sampling. Yeah. So when I hear people say that, I feel like they're disregarding that. But for me, that's kind of the special thing about hip hop, as well as it being so different from the stuff I was doing before. Like I didn't really grow up listening to it. I myself am into like a lot of country music and stuff. So it's like obviously opposite ends of the scale, low key, you know. So it's like, it was fun for me to dive into the world, like maybe like 3-4 years ago, off of, you know, Oscar's recommendations too, basically, as Corbin said with MF Doom. But yeah, like the sampling stuff is just, it's so interesting.
It's wild, bro.
Like James said, like people that don't necessarily play an instrument, but like can far exceed the musical ability of like, you know, whoever. Just because you got an instrument doesn't mean you're on some kind of tier above. It's like,
you're almost like more likely to over-engineer it in a way, you know. Like you think about it too much, and like guys are out here just like making straight fire, just, you know, like just off the top of the dome.
Yeah, no, it's just great. Yeah, super interesting genre, basically.
Kind of forgotten what the original question was.
What about hip hop drew you to the art form? So like why you're playing?
I think for me, it's so feel based. Like some of the parts are so simple. Like in New York State of Mind, Chris plays one note.
Mate, I'm on that one note sound. I love that.
And I just feel like that's a super cool part of it, because you don't need all these complex things going on. It's just simple parts and trying to play them as well as we can. That's what makes it fun.
I've got another question for you, OMA. Since we heard some covers last night, are there any new covers that you have in the works that you can like maybe tease for fans listening?
Hey, I mean, we're always cooking. Yeah. We're always cooking. I mean, there's more Newbies songs that we need to tackle. So,
for sure.
Like, we're always working on that, thinking, and I'm sure that by the end of the tour, the medley will have extended. We're definitely going to get some more East Coast stuff ready. When we hit that side, so maybe some more Mobb Deep.
Okay.
Couple more Biggie ones. Feels I might be in store.
I want a Beastie Boys medley.
There we go.
That'll kill it.
Yeah, that would be cool too.
And there's like a certain Kendrick medley we played last night, which we kind of waited to.
Was dope.
Yeah, that's kind of one of our favorites, obviously, because of, you know, like known to people at TD. You know, it's like kind of nice to. I guess I wouldn't say carrying the torch, but it's nice to represent, you know, and like be like, let's go West Coast.
Yeah, and for those listening and watching at home, it's something that you guys have to hear and see in person.
You got to experience it in person.
Really it's palpable energy in the room. So what is a song, you said you have some more like covers in the works. What is a song that you haven't performed yet with Shing02 that you really want to collab with him on? Maybe even an album in the works?
The sly laugh in the
wink,
back.
Wink.
Yeah, I mean, you want to take it, Shing?
No, you.
He's like, no, you got it.
Who's gonna dish?
Well, we were very lucky when we went to Tokyo. Shingo had a contact at the Red Bull studios over there.
Okay.
So we spent like 3 days in the studios, just kind of chilling, obviously being creative, making beats, and we always write original stuff whenever we can. Like we're often very busy these days, just with everything going on the content. But fundamentally, that's why we got into it, right? To write beats.
So there's something in existence then already out there in the ether.
He's like, the cook is happening. You just wait on it. It's happening.
It's a slow process.
But yeah, like that's a big aim of ours, obviously, and to have Shingo on something would obviously be super dope. So
for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure it's coming at some point.
We're anxiously awaiting.
For sure.
I know I am, for sure.
Yeah. So I'm going to kind of swerve on this last one because we have anime baby birds in the room. So wanted to give you guys some recommendations, just, based off of just Battle Cry. Like Samurai Champloo personally is one of my favorite ones. But if you guys love music and anime, Megalobox is fantastic. Not only does it talk about the sport of boxing, but it's a really emotional story as well too. So there's one for you.
Sports anime is its own.
Oh, so yeah, sports
thing.
anime
it's
is
its own genre.
Oh yeah, sports anime. If you guys haven't watched Haikyuu is great.
I've seen Haikyuu.
Yeah.
Blue Lock
is great.
I really like Kuroko's basketball.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a big. Lee's a big fan of that one.
And then you already watched Full Metal, but Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is a great one. So there's a lot of great stuff out there for you guys. So I say you start there, kind of keep going. But no, I think for sure, like just based off of music tip, like Megalobox, and then Afro Samurai as well too is another great one that's really good on the music tip. So
awesome.
There you go.
Yeah.
And where can we watch it on?
Watch it on Crunchyroll.
Shameless plug.
Plug.
Just checking.
But I wanted to thank you guys so much for joining us today and being on the Anime Effect. Is there any special message that you have to, your fans who are listening or joining you guys, on this tour?
I mean, I think this tour already, it's been crazy actually meeting people who listen to our stuff, because like we do it all in our house and it's just a number on a screen in a way, the comments are always amazing to read, but actually meeting people in person is a whole other thing, So thank you everybody that showed up and all the nice stuff everybody said. Like it's like a different world for us now,
Yeah, I mean, the people just turning out for us is crazy, like all the love. And then, just the fact that, we can pull up to Texas and we're filling out rooms and stuff like that. It's just something we could have never imagined, let alone like one gig in America, like doing a whole tour. It's crazy. So thank you for enabling us to do this, and Shingo.
Yeah, big up Shingo.
Yeah, I mean, same thing, really. Just big up everybody, straight up. Yeah, no, it's fun.
I mean, echoing really. I think the main thing that stood out to me is like the age ranges that we've been getting at the shows. It's wild to see. Like it's like 14, 15-year-olds coming knowing all the words to like Biggie and Tupac, but then there's like the older generation as well that are representing as well. So just big up. Thanks.
Yeah, it's alive. It's alive
really
and well.
is.
The spirit of hip hop. Yeah. Shingo, any last words?
Big up City of Dallas. We already covered this earlier. City of Dallas. So it's all good, Again, big up to everyone. We have like parent-kid combos that come to our all ages show. So it's been great. It's been great, and I can't possibly imagine like what they have experienced along with the animes and the song. They tell us all these crazy episodes. So much love to you guys. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us today on the Anime Effect. For everyone listening at home, go check out OMA and Shing02 on tour now. And
don't sleep on the tickets. The show's sold out.
They do. But check them out.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Big up. Thank you.
Guys, it was amazing to talk to OMA Shing02. I loved going to that show. I haven't been to a concert in quite a few years. And this one being one of my first ones back was absolutely phenomenal. I highly recommend whenever they roll back around, highly recommend going. But now it's time for the recommendations. I'll put on, I forgot to put on the news outfit, so I'll put on the recommendations outfit for this one. Retroactive extra just for young Nicholas. I love how we're doing more themed recommendations now, because I think it actually really allows us to like dig into the bag of what we're watching and reading or even listening to, depending. This week, Lance hit us with a very interesting question that feeds into our recs for this week. Hello, Lance. Thank you for using the question form.
Thank you, Lance.
Appreciate it. In my opinion, side characters are often more relatable than the main characters. Who are some of the side characters in anime or manga that you relate to?
Oh, this is tough. I don't know. Well, someone else go first. I can't go first. I got any more time to think.
Oh, man. I have to say, because she's one of my favorites, Chika Fujiwara from Kaguya-sama Love is War.
Yeah.
She's so funny, and I really like about her that she's always trying to help people, like no matter what the endeavor is, whether you're trying to learn to sing or exercise better, whatever it is, she wants to help you. And I kind of relate to that, trying to be helpful. But if I am very true to myself, I also have to say Captain Levi, because I'm a bit of a neat freak, like in my house and in my spaces. Like I really need organization.
Your desk is very uncluttered.
Yes, exactly.
Unlike me and Alex, who have monuments.
Dust. Yes, everything has to be spotless. How about you?
Do you have an answer?
I do. Okay. I guess I also have two. Okay. So my first one is Tetsu from My Hero Academia, because there's someone else in the story that has essentially his same abilities, and that's Kirishima. And on this pod, there's someone else that has a beard and long hair, and it's Nick. And you only ever have me on the pod when Nick's not here,
it's
so
true.
I'm the Tetsu of the situation.
Aww. That's true. There you go. It's true. It's true.
But I also another character that I really relate to, and it's got me very excited for upcoming content in Blue Lock, is Yukimiya. He has such a, sad, beautiful backstory that when I was reading it through my glasses, which he also has, I was like, I feel you, sir. I'm here with you. You got this, dog. So those are the characters that I was thinking about.
Nice. Okay.
How about you?
Mine is going to loop back to a couple episodes ago where we all picked anime characters for each other. Not all of us, but we'll have to do that exercise. But when Nick and Leo were not down and out, Piccolo, that's just my guy. Like, I feel like I've always kind of like identified with like how stoic and how kind of like, he always feels like he's like, you have to be professional at all times, or just like be like, at all times, like just stoic for no reason, but then you're also just kind of like one of the nicest guys.
Yeah.
He's just a nice dude, like gets his work done or just does his task, and he's like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Bye.
And you can almost see it under the surface, right? Like his true feeling.
Yeah. He and I guess it comes through like the same journey that like Vegeta had, and like everybody else is kind of like in that Z Fighters clique. Like they all kind of evolved over time. And then by the time we, meet Piccolo and Superhero, he's just kind of like, yeah, all right. I'm kind of like, I got a house, I got a cell phone, like
got plushies.
I got plushies, I'm chilling.
Babysitter now.
Right, yeah, I'm a babysitter. I mean, hey, here we go. And then it's also cool, like, and I think, I identify with him because it's cool to kind of just see the evolution of a character through the need for evolution, I guess is the best way I can say it, is he was always kind of put in a position where he had to evolve, or else like literally the fate of the world and everybody else depended on it. Right. So, and then to kind of echo your Blue Lock pick, but not the same person, Nagi's my guy, man.
He's so
he's like cooler than the other side of the pillow. Like he just doesn't stress out, but then you can tell that he is like very about like what soccer is. Yeah. Like he is just like, that is just where he is fine-tuned. And I feel like, a lot of my life I spent like just being very like, centrally like focused and fine-tuned on, just one specific thing. But then also kind of the same thing for Baro as well too. Like he's very like singularly focused on, what he wants to achieve. So some Blue Lock picks in there.
Hey.
I had to do it. I'm excited. Yeah. I'm excited for it to come back.
Watch Blue Lock.
Watch Blue Lock. Don't talk about Blue Lock enough. Also, as part of our recommendations, thank you, Lance. We also got one from Tim. Hey, guys, I've been listening for a while. I think the recommendation segment might be my favorite. Thank you, Tim. We love it, too. I have a webtoon recommendation that I think some listeners might be interested in. It's called Senpai is an Otokonoko. The 3 central characters are all young queer people, and the webtoon is all about the messy and nonlinear ways we can come to terms with our gender and sexual identities. All of the characters have their own struggles and the different ways they deal with or don't deal with things like external pressure to conform, to internalize homophobia, and simply not being able to identify what they're feeling feels very real. As a queer person myself, the comic is an emotional roller coaster. I'm not finished with it, but I look forward to seeing what the conclusion looks like. Highly recommended to anyone who might identify with these themes or to anyone looking for nuanced portrayals of them. That's good.
That's very nice.
Yeah, thank you, Tim.
That's awesome. Thank you, Tim. We really appreciate it. I also hear a lot of really good things about this title. I might have to add it to my webtoon list. I'm always like, it's weird. I'm always looking for new webtoons now. Like my Shonen Jump list is like miles long, and now I'm like, all right, webtoon time.
Yeah.
how many webtoons can I read in a week? So I'm ready to add some more stuff.
Good recs, everyone. Those were very good. I, again, added a lot of stuff to my list based off of that, based off the characters that you talked about as well.
Hell yeah, brother.
But now I think it's time to open the mailbag.
Ooh, mailbag.
Let's do it.
But before we get into this week's question, we wanted to shout out another anime quote a fan submitted for our anime quotes bracket.
People really love this bracket, bro. What is the ad here?
So Richard, via our question form, thank you, Richard, brought up this quote from Full Metal Alchemist. Stand up and walk. Keep moving forward. You've got 2 good legs, so get up and use them. You're strong enough to make your own path, said by Edward Elric.
Those are words for like your morning mantra kind of stuff. Like I may add this to my list.
Yeah. I honestly kind of hate we missed this one. Mostly because I'm like such a stan for Full Metal Alchemist just as a whole. But no, this is, especially when you think about Ed's character. Well, not just him and Alphonse. Like you think about their characters, and I don't remember what point in the series he says this, but this is very just like taking his life experience and like, here, I have to give this to you because it's something that I'm still doing as of right now because I'm trying to figure out how to get my life back.
Yeah. And honestly, just moving forward can be so hard. Just legit, just stand up and walk. One foot in front of the other sometimes can get hard.
Yeah, and I'm sure for him, especially because he, through the large majority of the series, he had the prosthetic leg. So I'm pretty sure like a lot of that is very singularly focused for him. But I feel like it's just a great quote.
It is. Everything from Full Metal Alchemist is so good. Like I just reading this quote, I was like, I kind of want to watch the show again. Mm-hmm. Like I know I have 500 series on my watch list, but you like reading this, you get goosebumps thinking about like the first time you heard him say this, or just the context of it within the series. You're just like, wow, it's just art. This is what it's all about.
Yeah.
But now we're going to move into our question of the week. Ella, via our question form, our listeners are so good about using the question form. So thank you so much for doing that.
Yes.
As a newbie to anime manga, Attack on Titan and Vinland Saga are forever her goats. Hard to argue with that. What can you tell us about how it's changed your life beyond the obvious of working at Crunchyroll?
Oh, wow.
That's so hard.
Okay. We're going with the deep questions today, I guess. Man, you know what? Like for me, outside of working for Crunchyroll, like I think it was something that my parents always kind of fostered my love for just being a nerd in general. Like I learned how to read because I didn't like reading books as a kid. So my dad would buy me comic books, and like that's where my current comic addiction comes from. But then also like I watched a lot of animation as a kid. And then, a lot of us have the same story of like watching anime for the first time and not really knowing what it is.
Right.
And then, I talk often about my, chasing the dragon moment with Dragon Ball, and like, hey, like it gave me a specific feeling of watching this. So I need to find more stuff like this. And I think a lot of it is once you get deeper into the medium and you find what genres you like, you really start to identify with characters that you feel like you could be friends with, which I guess is the best way I can put it, because you start kind of being a fully formed person. Being a part of like the anime culture can really teach you a lot about yourself. And that's one thing that I think even, in my 30 plus age, it still does for me sometimes too. Like you'll watch something, you're like, oh man, I didn't think about that. Or that's something that I, may have thought about like years ago, but now it's coming back up. And now I'm going to like, deal with it. Or I'm like, oh, hey, this is a weird quirk I didn't know I had that somebody else has. Right. But I think it's, for me, it's helped me like basically just be the person I am, outside of my career. I mean, because anime has really been tied to my career for like, almost the last 10 years. But it's really like, really shaped who I am as a person. What about you guys?
For me, it's a very hard question because a lot of my anime experience has been framed around working at Crunchyroll. But I will say one of my favorite things that anime has changed in my life is being able to relate and introduce people in my life that we have anime in common, right? Regardless of the genre that we enjoy of the anime medium, if you enjoy anime, it brings you closer to people that maybe you wouldn't have met otherwise or wouldn't have a lot of things in common otherwise. And so it has exposed me to other points of views from different kinds of people that maybe I wouldn't have interacted with otherwise. And to me, that is like one of the most valuable things that anime has given me.
For sure.
How about you, Alex?
I think it just helped me get to know myself better because I think, as we've alluded to, kind of the formative experiences of watching anime and having to kind of hide the interest a little bit, but then coming to terms of like, you know what, I don't care if anybody knows that I like this. Like, this stuff is awesome, and I want people to ask me about it because they need to know why I like this so much, because there's so much to experience and so much to see within this world, and it can teach you a bit about like how to interact with people, because you see things in stories that you may be dealing with, like you brought up, Lee, but it's positioned in a larger than life way to where like the facts of the matter come through in a method where if you were just sitting thinking about it, you probably wouldn't necessarily see. So I think you learn a lot, not just about the human condition, but about yourself and how you respond to things in anime. Like finding out that I really like fan service shows, I was like, what has become of me? I didn't know that about myself, but here I am.
Wow.
Why am I attracted to this fictional character right now?
And I, man, there's something like, and you guys brought it up, there's something special about like sharing the worlds that you love with other people, right? Like, especially because the anime medium has become so large now. Like, it's such a large, diverse world. So like now when, case in point, for recommendations, like people ask us for stuff, or they ask us about, favorite shows or favorite characters. Like, we're all, and not just us at the table, like people, that are, writing in the reviews or question forums, like they're sharing that with us. And that's just something that we didn't have like growing up. I mean, we all had our secret little anime clubs or whatever, and that was about it.
Kind of suss out, trying to suss out if
do you watch? Yeah.
Does
okay, cool.
mean anything to you?
Right. Did you spirit gun? Yeah. You got it? Okay. Yeah,
okay.
Cool. But yeah, no, it's I think that's honestly the coolest part. I mean, outside of like, finding yourself, is being able to share with other people. And I'm glad we're at a point, with anime that we can actually do that and do it on a larger scale too. Thank you. That was great.
That's amazing.
That was awesome, Ella. Thank you so much. If you guys want to be a part of the conversation, please 5-star review on Apple Podcast. 5. You can also leave a review on Spotify. Yeah. Nick, quit putting up secret polls for your agenda. And please use the question form. It's got.cr/anime effect questions. Again, that is got.cr/anime effect questions. And I get to be the person to say, take us out. Take us out, Alex.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of The Anime Effect, brought to you by Crunchyroll and Sony Music Entertainment. Be sure to subscribe and leave a review so you never miss an episode.
The Anime Effect is hosted by me, LeAlec Murray, Nicholas Friedman, Leah President, and today by Alex Level and Josellie Rios. We're executive produced by Jonathan Hirsch, Sharon Morris, and Nick Friedman.
Our lead producer is Kyla Garnedo, and our associate producer is Zoe Colkin. Patrick Emile edited and mixed this episode's audio. Vince Garza filmed, and Aaron Neidick edited the video. Our head of production is Sammy Allison, and special thanks to Carla Solorzano and Tamika Balance-Kalasi.
We will be back next week with more anime, more news. We're going to be here. We're going to quit leaving that door open. But I also realized we didn't hit the Isekai button this week. Wow, I am disappointed.
Isekai. There you go.
There we go. And there's nothing you can do about it. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.